That this video was not first outplanned. This has not been done before. This is technically a trial by error video. Yeah. Hello, it's me, Kayla R, with another video. So, a couple of months ago, I said if I got 30 subscribers, I would do a video on how to make customs, and here it is. I did say I was going to get this uploaded for January, but it's probably going to be uploaded later, just because I've been busy with school, so... And actually now we're at 40 subscribers, so I thought, we better make this video now. So, I'm going to show you how I make my Funko Pop customs from start to finish, and also give out tips on how to make pops. I have been making pops for almost 2 years now. It will be 2 years in July. And I've made probably about 10 pops already, and here are actually some of them right here. This is my Dr. Romero pop. This is my Kim Possible pop. And this is my Ron pop, which was actually my first pop I've ever done. So he's kind of special to me. And also here's a little Rufus I made for my Ron. So, you're probably here watching this video to know more techniques on how to make Funko Pops. And this might be your first time and you kind of want maybe some help and maybe some expertise and tips. Well, I'm here, so yay, another Funko Pop custom DIY how-to video. So yeah, I'm going to show you how to make a pop from start to finish, and we're going to start off on basic things before I show my progress work. And also you can make this pop too, I do not mind. So yeah, let's get going. What character are you going to do, and what will be your base? I prefer you starting off like this. So basically first you plan of what your character is going to be. Of course, you might have dealt with you buy a DIY pop or you get one for a gift and you do not know what character you want to turn it into. Personally, I've had this figure for almost a year now, and I still do not know what I want to do with this figure. Of course, what I like to do is create a list of pops that, basically movies and shows that you would love to see into pops. And Funko hasn't made them yet, or they can't get the rights to. Or license. So, that list usually helps me out. And then, of course, what will your base be? I have used DIY pops on many numerous occasions. I think my first few pops were DIY pops. My Kim Possible ones are DIY. Romero's DIY. My Johnny and Allie, they're DIYs. And this might help you get a hint on what pop I'm making for this video. And I actually kind of hinted it out already, but you'll see. I show it soon. They're DIY pops. And of course, DIYs do come in female and male. Oh, they don't show it on the box. Forgot. And of course, I love how Funko influenced the customizing. Really, I've seen many people do customs and they're like confirming now they're making pops of. Like, I know Arrow was pretty big, and now look, there's Arrow pops, and I've not seen the 100, but I know a lot of people were like requesting 100 pops, and I've seen tons of customs, and they recently did announce they were doing them. And of course, on the back it says, of this box, it says, your DIY pops come pre-primed and ready to go. Showcase your creativity with markers, paint, modeling clay, and more. Of course, you can do whatever you want with your pop. This video shows what I usually do. Of course, you can do whatever you want. I do not care. So basically, these are just white figures, and you can add clay or paint, and of course there's markers. I have a bit of a thing with markers, I'll explain later. Yeah. And of course you can also buy a pre-made pop. I've actually bought a couple of these, and I'm probably going to buy more of these, is Frank Walker from Marlin, because I find him, he's a good base. Also, a thing about DIY pops is that sometimes they're a little hard to find. Like, when I first started, like, doing this stuff, I bought, like, one at a comic book store that was not in my town. I was on a trip. And I bought another one at a Hot Topic, which was like in Ottawa, and I live in New Brunswick. So, yeah. And of course, EB Games would sell these for $10. I think I have the price tag. Yeah, 10. And sometimes if I say EB Games, I also mean GameStop, but I'm Canadian. So I say EB Games a lot. And you can also find these on Amazon. As for pre-primed, of course, already made base, we'll say. I've been starting to use them, and they're pretty good too. The thing with like DIY pops is basically you start from scratch, you add whatever on. This pop you can easily just maybe do more to the hair and stuff. I actually have a Frank Walker pop I'm using for a custom right now. It's Soda Pop, and actually I'm making a tutorial video on this too. This will probably upload before looking at how the editing's going. And he is a Frank Walker, and basically I just sculpted more onto his hair and added sleeves. And of course my To Kill a Mockingbird pops, they were already made pops too. And actually the pop I'm using in this video is already made. So yeah, it's two good things to think about is your character and what will be your base. Sometimes I like to look up at similar hairstyles and clothes, like this pop, which we'll show right now. I'm going to be turning this AC Slater pop into Ponyboy Curtis from The Outsiders. Yeah. So, also I kind of do this, honestly it's an option when you do these, is to draw, kind of maybe use Photoshop or print out a picture or use the box art. I like to use that as a reference for what I'm going to make, what I'm going to turn them into. So I took a picture, so I printed off a picture of AC Slater off of Google Images, and I also print some pictures of Ponyboy. Honestly, if you guys do not know, I'm a huge Outsiders fan, and of course I have done Outsiders pops. I've done Daddy, Johnny, and I'm currently working on Ponyboy's bro, Soda Poop. And of course you can see these videos of these guys. Soda Pop will probably, like I said before, uploaded before this video. And of course you can see Johnny and Dally's. So honestly, my Ponyboy is going to be based off the C. Thomas Howell Ponyboy, or Tommy Howell. And he's going to be, like, in these images, he's going to be wearing the purple sweatshirt with the sleeves cut off. Because I'm kind of, like, basing the Outsiders pops off the poster image. It's, like, also the DVD cover for the movies. I think I have one liner, and I have both versions. I'll show you this. So yeah, it's kind of hard to see, but it's like a dark purple Ponyboy's shirt is. But yeah, you can see Johnny and Dally are kind of based off it, but I also based a little more on the movie. Like, I kind of based their hair more on the movie, because, I mean, Dally's hair, Johnny's hair is different, kind of from this picture. And also, Matt Dillon's not wearing a necklace in the movie, so I like to look at pics from the movie. And there was also a thing I do want to mention about the scar in the picture. I watched a commentary saying that they spent like 2 weeks thinking of like how much putty they should print on Ralph Macchio's face because Johnny gets a scar before the movie, so you know, Johnny's kind of iconic for that scar. And here's that scar. He's that little Johnny Cute scar I have on his face. It's beautiful. It's so cute. He's so cute. I'm sorry, I love this pop. But yeah, of course, planning out helps. So, before I show what I'm planning to do, I'm just going to do some other pointers too. Clay, what should I use? If you plan to make a pop, basically if you're using a DIY, or if you want to add more features onto your pop, like more hair, you're kind of thinking about what kind of clay would you like to use. Well, here are some clay examples you can use. You can use air dry, you can use oven bake. I'm kind of just going to say some things about it. I just want to say there's two clay things I kind of would like you guys to stay out of. One is being dollar store brand. Now, of course, you might want to be like, you know what, I like to be cheap for this project. That's fine. a lot of my products I get is from the dollar store, but I don't buy clay there. I have used clay from dollar stores before, but I don't really like it. And I actually have an experience with a dollar store brand clay. And I'll actually show what happened. So if you guys did not know, I made a pop for a friend. So at the time I had bought a new pack of clay, which I'll show, which I usually use. One of them's there. So I used this dollar store brand that I've had for a couple years, sealed up, which I bought for like $1.25. And I've used that clay before, and to be honest, I was never really successful with it. So I used the clay to make my friend's pop. Honestly, if you've not seen the pop, it's the Century No. 2 pop, we'll say. You can see it in my pops of 2015-2016 video. I have not really created a video for it because I don't have much footage for it. Because I was like in a hurry to get it. Because I only spent a week on it. And I spent like a month on pops. So basically a week was new for me. So I used this clay, I created her hair, I added more to the jacket, and so I let it dry for the night. So the next day I found a bunch of cracks on the pop where the clay is at, and everything started to pop off and break. So here is some of the hair. This actually broke off. See, it breaks, and it's easily breakable. And you can see, right here is a crack. And it simply breaks. The thing was that I could not fix this. So I had to throw a bunch of the stuff away and had to use my air dry clay. I honestly wanted to show it as like a new sealed bag full of clay, but of course this clay is crap. So I stay away from dollar store clay. I prefer going for maybe more of a clay you would buy at a craft store instead of a dollar store. So yeah, it really bothers me. So I had to start over again. So I technically lost a day of sculpting. So a clay I like to use is called Das Air Dry. When I started using pops, I started using it and I really love to use it. As you can see, it's taped up. When I started using it, I used the brown kind because at the time they didn't have the white kind. And it works fine. And I made about 6 pops with it. 5 or 6 pops with it. I can't remember. And I also used that clay for other things too for school, so it was a good use kind of clay. And I have made about 3 pops already. 4 pops, actually 4. I forgot the pop I made for the friend, which I told you about, the dollar store clay. Century No. 2, we'll say. So I made 4 pops already, and I can probably make more pops with this. And this will actually be clay I'll be using for my Ponyboy. Another brand I like to bring up is Sculpty. I've used Sculpty before, and I know Sculpty is more well known for having oven-baked clay. And there's always been that debate saying, should you put a pop in an oven with the oven-baked clay? So, honestly, I've not tried it yet, and I don't really have an interest using oven-baked clay. And basically, there's this thing about the vinyl fumes and it melting. People do say it's possible. If you want to try it out, go ahead. I know it's been recommended to just keep a steady watch on your pop. Make sure it not melt or break. So, yeah, go ahead if you want to do oven baked. And of course, if you like Sculpty, you can get Sculpty in air dry form. And of course, you can get them in colors too if you don't want to paint or you like to have a simple base color. I like using air dry, so let's just say, and that pops clay is air dry. So there's this thing called Epoxy Clay, and basically it's two materials that add up to be a clay form. And I've heard it dries up really quickly. It gets hardened. I've not tried it before, but I've seen people who do it for their first time, and they haven't really done much pottery experience. Kind of say it's trickier to do. So if this is actually your first time using clay, I really do recommend just going for air dry or oven bake, not going epoxy. Another kind of epoxy clay thing is you can use, instead of clay, you could use putty. There's this thing called Epoxy Putty, and there was this thing called Milliput I've seen if you want to just do small details on a pop, like, you know, maybe add some more to the shirt or sleeves, like, it could work. And this kind of a brand called Milliput, it's something you would put in the oven, but of course, if you keep a watchful eye on your pop, you'll be fine. Another brand I do want to bring up is the Crayola brand. The brand I'd probably be more careful around is Crayola. Of course, Crayola does have clay brands. One is the air dry. I feel like it's called Model Magic, but I know the color kind's called Model Magic. I've not really used Crayola clay. I've seen footage and videos of people who try using it, and they either get cracks on the clay of their figure, or the thing pops off, like the dollar store one. So honestly, stay away from the tub of the white clay. But I've seen people use the color kind, and it works fine. So you can go ahead and use that. Of course, you can just simply repaint if you're interested in using Crayola. Another thing I would recommend doing is, if you don't want to use DAS or Sculpey, I do recommend getting research on the clay you're going to be using, because it might not stick onto vinyl. So it's good to get research saying, will this stick onto plastic? Will this stick onto vinyl? Because if not, they might just pop off. And yeah, like I said before, I don't really like using dollar store clay, but I like to go to a craft store, so I buy my DAS at Michael's. The thing is that this costs $17, but a lot of craft stores, like I don't know if this is the thing with Hobby Lobby or Joann's. I feel like if they do have coupons, that's good, or gift cards. A couple times a year, Michael's usually has like a half off, 50% off deal, so that's when I buy my clay. And usually buying this much, if you want to create this as a hobby, I've already made 4 pops with this, so it's a good brand to use. So yeah, that is clay stuff I want to talk about right now. So let's get on to more. Paints. So you're probably going to be painting your pop, because if you got clay on it and it's white, you might want to paint it a different color. So what I use for my paints, I use acrylics, and a lot of people use acrylics when they do customs, because I haven't tried it with watercolor, but it'd probably be interesting since it's more water soluble base. I have heard recommendations of not using oil paints. Honestly, I don't really like oil paints. I'm not really huge on using them because it gets all, thick and sticky. So acrylic's usually recommended, and I really love acrylic paints, so I'm okay with it because I have tons of acrylic paints. So the 2 main brands I usually use is Craftsmart and Crafters Acrylic. This is a kind my mom has. She has tons of acrylic paints, and they're like over 20 years old. Sometimes they don't work. Sometimes they're all dried up. This is called Cream Coat by Delta. She has tons of other brands too, but these are usually the main 2 brands I buy. Craftsmart is a brand I buy at Michael's, and usually I wait till there's a sale on these. Sometimes there is a buy 3 for $2 deal, and there's also buy 2 for $1.50 deals. So I usually wait till they're on sale if I need a specific color. Crafters Acrylic is a cheaper brand I use because I can get this at a dollar store. There's 2 different dollar stores in my town. There is the Great Canadian Dollar Store and Dollarama. The Great Canadian Dollar Store sells 59 milliliters Canadian metric, 59 milliliters of acrylic paint for, I believe, $1.25. Dollarama sells 118 milliliters for, I believe, I think $1.50. It's about $1.50 or $1.25. Honestly, if you need a lot of white or black, maybe going for a bigger size works. I feel like when you do costumes, the three colors you'll need is white, black, and a flesh color. And also brown, depending on your skin color. But white and black are probably more used, especially if you are going to paint a pop size black. Keep in line of acrylic. This is acrylic. This is satin acrylic. The thing with satin acrylic is it kind of adds more of a shine. Here's my Johnny Cade pop. And you can see I use black satin acrylic paint for his hair because his hair is all greased up, so it works. And I did like 10 layers of this. So yeah, it brings a shine instead of like a matte finish. Take an example of my Romero. His hair isn't shiny. It's a matte brown color. So yeah, that's a good thing to watch out for if you do anything with acrylic paints. Of course, you can probably use little tubes if you have little acrylic painting sets. But I kind of prefer going by bottle because you'll have more paints to use. Since we're also talking about paints, let's actually talk about paintbrushes. I usually like to use small brushes, but you can buy paintbrushes at the dollar store. Same with paints. You can also buy paint palettes, and if you want a little cup for water, there's like a special kind of one for you to use for painting. I usually just use a container. It's a beloved container for my painting. So yeah, I bought this set of 25 paints, and I actually got another set for Christmas, and this actually isn't all 25. There's a bunch of other paints I bought, paintbrushes I bought. That's one. I bought a bunch of ones with handles. I like to go for smaller brushes, like technically 1s and 2s and 0s. So you might want to buy finer brushes at maybe a craft store if you want to do very fine detail. You can also, this is my mom's, it's a dotting tool I like to use it to do fine detail with. And you can see it has like a little dot. It's more used to doing dotting. But I like to use it for details. And of course, if you can't find one of those, you can probably find some paint technique stuff at a craft store, or if you're just too cheap. You can, of course, go to the dollar store and buy toothpicks. Of course, because they're going to be quite pointy and will help you with doing small, fine details. So here are just some things for paints. Other things. Some pops I'll use for examples. So for my Johnny Cade, for his shoelaces, I used to wear braces, and I had tons of elastics left over, so I used some and I created some shoelaces. And also, right here is where a switchblade's supposed to be. I use a small piece of toothpick for it. For my Kim Possible pop, for her belt, I got a strand of paper and these foam squares I found, like, you know, those foam mosaic art things you can use, so I did that. And also my Rita pop, which I need to go get, but I'll just talk about it. I had, like, cord leftovers from what do we call them? Earbuds. So yeah, I used that and I glued it onto her butt. And I also used paper, actually masking tape, and elastics to create her belt and those things you print on. You know, you have your belt looped around on pants. I can't remember the name. But yeah, those are examples. I forgot one thing, which is totally optional. Actually, I just remembered I forgot another thing. Other things section is not done yet. More other things you can use. Totally optional. A lot of these things are optional. So you might need sanding paper. I like to use it because it smooths out your clay, especially if it's pretty bumpy after you've done your pop and the clay is all dried up. So you might want to make it smoother. When I started making pops, I didn't use. Here's my KP pop. You can kind of see some of the making bumps and stuff. It's not super smooth. If you look at this Dallas Winston pop, his hair is quite smooth. It kind of makes a difference a bit. Of course, it's optional. If you don't want to use sanding paper, it's fine. Of course, it does take a little while to do. And that thing it's not on the camera. This thing that has been chillin' is Mod Podge. Of course, you can also use a primer or a different kind of sealer. I use Mod Podge when I'm done with my pops. This is a gloss kind. You can also get a matte kind, so I've been meaning to buy a matte kind, but this is gloss. It kind of makes it a little glossy. But whatever. It's kind of like the satin acrylics. Planning process. Here is my AC Slater pop out of the box. Of course, if you want to see it open, check the outtakes video. So I chose him because I really like the muscle shirt he had, because I feel like I could turn it into basically his sweatshirt, which has no sleeves. In the book, it was like, Ponyboy was like, oh yeah, I'm wearing my brother's sweatshirt with no sleeves. And it's actually navy in the book, but in the movie it's like a dark purple. If you cannot find an AC Slater pop, I will print alternates down on my pop paint chat video when I do Ponyboy. So, I like his muscle shirt on. I could turn it easily into a shirt. I'm just going to add a little more to basically where his shoulders are and where the neck is, because he doesn't have a U-cut on his shirt. I also like his hair because it goes back and it's long. I think I might just use sandpaper and smooth that part out. And I'm going to repaint the pants. I'm going to try to find a way to remove the belt. You can obviously just repaint over it if you're planning to do this. Or I'm going to use a little more clay and pretend, because the shirt's a little bit big on Ponyboy, so we'll kind of have like fabric kind of pulling up, because I think he kind of has like his shirt and his pants. The shoes are fine. I gotta get rid of the gym bag, but I think I know how to, so that'll be the next thing I'll show. And of course I need to remove the head. Of course, removing head is optional. I'll talk about that too. So yeah, it's also change his skin color. Add a little more to his hair, if I have not mentioned that before. And I think we would have a Ponyboy. So I'm going to do some things first. So I'm planning to remove the gym bag first. Of course, it appears this is actually glued on, so I could probably find a way to take it off. And there's probably, if we take the gym bag off, there's going to be a little hole, which will cover in clay. With my Scout Finch pop, I used a Deb from Napoleon Dynamite, and I was able to yank off her ponytail. So I feel like if I can yank this off, it could work. Now the thing is, I don't know if his fingers are actually completely stuck to the bag. So I'm going to try yanking it off first, and then I'll have other plans and other alternate ways if you are interested. Yeah. Aha! Okay, we got that off. Now, can we get the arm part off? Of course, we're probably going to break this pop. just gonna have a little close up. So it looks like it's actually probably sculpted on. So right here, there's that little hole I was telling you about. So what I'm going to do is when I take the head off, I'm going to use boiling water. I'm not sure if I'll show progress of that because it gets pretty interesting, but you can check videos of people boiling heads. So we're going to boil that head off. And of course, when it's in hot water, it starts to get all like soft. So I think when it's all soft with the body, I think I might be able to maybe get that cut off. Now this is probably going to be really interesting to do, and I feel like we'll have to probably sculpt on new fingers for Ponyboy. And maybe we'll have him hold a cigarette or something. But yeah, this is the next thing that Pop will have to do, get some boiling, and then we'll start sculpting. Before you start any sculpting or painting on your Pop, it's good to look at some photo references of your character. Like what I'm showing right here, I'm looking at pictures of Ponyboy Curtis. Of course, you might need to define more of your search, like saying sweatshirt or brunette. We got some blonde Ponyboy pictures, and then just pictures of Ponyboy wearing that purple hoodie. I'm doing him in that purple sweatshirt, and he's still a brunette boy. So yeah, research.